This is the radio telescope from Honeysuckle Creek that received the first transmissions from Apollo 11, and now it has been rebuilt and relocated at the NASA Deep Space Network headquarters in Australia, just outside of Canberra. I had an opportunity to have a look at this piece of history yesterday, and it is these types of radio telescopes, these types of receivers that a lot of SETI experts feel is our best chance of finding alien intelligence, finding proof for extraterrestrial civilizations. But as many of us have realized lately, it may be objects passing through our own solar system that are the best bet for finding extraterrestrial intelligence. Now, ever since we discovered 3i-Atlas, or rather, ever since 3i-Atlas was first discovered, we actually saw 3i-Atlas without realizing what it was in May, but the official discovery date was in July of this year. And since that time, we've looked for any evidence, any hint of what is called NGA, non-gravitational acceleration, any evidence that it might be speeding up or slowing down in a manner inconsistent with a natural object. And at last, we may have some evidence of that, both in terms of it slowing down and also in terms of it not changing or varying its speed or acceleration or trajectory at all, both of which would suggest that this is not a natural object, but rather something that was sent to us by design. In my opinion, there's a lot of evidence that has just come out recently that, yes, strongly suggests that it might be an object under artificial control. We have a lot more now to suggest that that might be the case that we didn't have before. Now, does this include the object slowing down? Well, yes, I think that that's possible. We also need to talk about a recent paper that has come out about 3i-Atlas's behavior since we first discovered it. Things about its maneuvering, or rather lack thereof, that suggest artificial control. Yes, as much as we'd like to think that it's slowing down, speeding up, something along those lines would be a dead giveaway for artificial control, just like in an Independence Day or something along those lines. The fact that it's not maneuvering, the fact that it's keeping a very steady course with no deviations whatsoever, that's just as artificial. And a paper that came out recently not only suggests, but actually proves that that is what's going on. Yes, 3i-Atlas might be slowing down now, or it may have slowed down as it was entering the solar system. But at the moment, it's staying very close to its original speed and trajectory, not deviating at all in spite of what appears to be very visible outgassing. And that should be impossible. We have seen no evidence of this with any other comet, asteroid, or anything else in the history of astronomy.
We are today, October 4th, 2025. I was taken last night, invited by my old friend Ia, to see up close the interstellar object 3i-Atlas. It's currently 30 million kilometers from the surface of Mars. Prince Ia has diplomatic immunity and clearance for pretty much everywhere in this galaxy. Mars is not as red as you are shown by NASA. There is more and more green patches growing, and there is an atmosphere that is breathable with a little apparatus that allow humans of Earth to really adapt. There is a terraforming going on. I was very excited to approach the surface of Mars, and we had to go through a clearance. We arrived at Jen Han's dwelling on Mars. So after a short conversation, we all got back to Ia's shuttle. We took off and went to meet on the trajectory of 3i-Atlas. Beyond exciting. And when we arrived closer, we could really see the elongated shape. It is not pointing at the sun as all comets do. So it was not doing like every comet like this. And any comets would do that. 3i-Atlas does that. It's a ship, of course. It is called an explorer, and it is a plasmic consciousness inhabited an empty vessel, which is a rock carved, that could welcome a crew, but it is so old that no crew has ever been there for billions of years. It is older than this star system. These plasmic consciousnesses that are out of time, out of linear time, are exploring the galaxy and other galaxies. They also travel into intergalactic medium to gain information and enrich themselves with data information on other culture, and their purpose is curiosity and gaining knowledge. They are very wise and old beings, of course wise because of all the knowledge they have recorded and archived from all the worlds and the cultures they've been visiting since an amount of time that defies your imagination. Because of course, linear time is not the norm everywhere else when you step out of gravity. So we approach this unmanned. Unmanned means with no biological being on board. The ship is biologically empty. It is inhabited by a plasmic consciousness that has no physical body. It is benevolent and it is curious and respectful of the greater laws of evolution, which are based on non-intervention. It will analyze, record, and go. They explore, that's why they're called the explorers. It is pacifist. It has no intention of intervening in anything, nor any nonsense you hear about activation, awakening, nothing. They are not intervening in any civilization they are encountering. They are respectful and honoring the greater laws of evolution. The Galactic Federation of Worlds calls it the Prime Directive. The Anahim call it the Dayakura. As we approached, it interacted with us, with our consciousness. The shuttle positioned itself parallel on the top, a little bit behind of 3i-Atlas. We could see all the little windows switched off black because it's empty, square windows. The roughness of the rock, but not that much. It's really a cylinder. You see, it's not natural. And we stayed there, communicating with it. We received a feeling of sacredness, privileged communication, being out of time, suddenly connecting with this being's consciousness. We felt jumping into the time field. We were all interfaced with him. The feeling was a feeling of peace, serenity, eternal, infinite, interconnected serenity. Jen Han had the message. He was crying. The being addressed directly to him. But as Jen Han transcribed how we perceived it, this meant a lot of things on different levels. The message Jen Han received from the being was, "I come in peace." This means on different levels that he is really coming in peace, not to interact with anyone, anybody, any culture, observe and go. He is a bringer of peace because it's so powerful. He's so radiating with peace that he is impregnating the whole solar system on its trajectory with the vibration of peace. Awakening the feeling of peace in all beings' consciousness on this path. We are very privileged to receive the visit of an explorer. After we stayed a while with him, we bid goodbye. Very respectfully, we detached the quantum link of our consciousnesses, and the shuttle left. And I will share with you much more as time goes, because we are living extraordinary time.
You floated the possibility that 3i-Atlas is alien technology in order to distract us from the Epstein files. My response to that is go to Amazon right now and purchase a 0.5 meter telescope, because that would allow you to see the object in the sky. I cannot really fake it. It's not something I can create with a Jewish laser. Because it's so far away, it's like 4 times the Earth-Sun separation. And the Hubble Space Telescope, the Webb Telescope, are looking at it in the context of 3i-Atlas. This is the 3rd interstellar object discovered on July 1st, 2025. And what was special about it, first of all, the brightness was so large that if you were to assume it's a solid object, it had to have a diameter of 20 kilometers. That's bigger than Manhattan Island, twice as big as the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. And it's just extremely rare. Okay, so I calculated, well, first of all, there should have been hundreds of thousands of Oumuamua-sized objects. That was just the size of a football field, 100 meters or so. And there are many more small objects than big rocks. But more importantly, the interstellar space can deliver a rock of 20 kilometers at best once per 10,000 years. If you take all the rocky material, pack it into 20-kilometer rocks, once per 10,000 years, you can get one to cross the inner solar system at the speed of 3i-Atlas. And we saw it after 1 decade of surveying the sky. So that was unusual. And then more dramatically, the trajectory of this object is exactly aligned with the plane in which the planets orbit the sun, to within 5 degrees. And, that coincidence is 1 in 500. Okay, for it to lie exactly in the plane, it means that along its path, it can come very close to several planets. In fact, it comes very close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. And it wouldn't be able to do that if it came at an angle. And moreover, it arrives closest to the sun when the Earth is on the opposite side of the sun. So we won't be able to observe it. And that's the best point to make a maneuver using the sun's gravity. Moreover, it came from a direction in the sky that is full of stars. It's the direction of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And so I was a co-author of a paper that said, is 3i-Atlas alien technology? And of course, if it is alien technology, you can't do the calculation of the mass in rocks in interstellar space, because this object is targeting the inner solar system. And, it will pass closest to the sun on October 29th, 2025. I got a text message the other day from someone who said that he is trading options on the volatility of the market with an expiration date of October 29th in order to make money. And I immediately thought, I don't know if there will be meaning to money if this object turns out to be technological after October 29th. If you want to take a vacation, take it before that date. Because who knows what will happen. Now, it could be a mothership that releases mini probes, that they come to Earth. The Galileo project that I'm leading is looking for unidentified anomalous phenomena, and we have now 3 observatories, and we will check if after October there is more activity. That would be interesting to check. But as of now, people, astronomers, what you will hear is the sort of the party claim that this is a comet. A comet, by the way, just like zebra is identified by its stripes, you tell it by the cometary tail. Okay, that's what distinguishes a comet. And in this case, just yesterday, there was the first analysis of the image from the Hubble Space Telescope of this object. And guess what? There is no tail. But more importantly, there is glow in front of the object instead of behind it.
It's got headlights. It's got headlights. You're not celebrating Halloween this year. That's the take-home message.
Just as an English to English translation, if I'm summarizing, there is a large rock that most scientists think is a comet that is bigger than the size of Manhattan, hurling towards space or hurling through space, potentially towards the Earth, that you believe may be alien technology, potentially a mothership that does not have any of the signs of a comet, but has headlights potentially or a glow in front of it. and it's scheduled to arrive potentially on Earth on October 29th. Is that accurate?
Not to Earth, but to get closest to the sun along its path.
But Avi, it's going to appear when we can't see it, which would be the best time for it to make a sneaky maneuver.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can argue like my colleagues do and say, the trajectory, it's just a random trajectory that happens to be fine-tuned and so perfectly aligned with all these planets. And, it's a coincidence that it happened to come closest to the sun when we can't see it. And it's a coincidence that it passes near all these other planets. By the way, even if you take this trajectory and just arrange for a random arrival time, you get 1 in 20,000 chance of it coming as close as it does to Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. It just fine-tuned in the sense that it also comes closest to those planets. Those planets are moving around the sun, in a circle, each of them. And they get to the point where 3i-Atlas is just when it arrives there. Like, how can that happen?
Maybe you're crazy. Maybe they're just going to say, Avi's crazy. But is this sort of the way we have to think? Meaning, if you're going to open up the possibility that there's extraterrestrial life, it's got 1 million or billion years of head start on us, you have to open your mind to the possibility of what if. And so every time you see something that we can't yet explain or we can't yet measure, we get to open our minds and say, what if? What are the possibilities? What's the clinical, scientific, quantifiable way to examine it rather than just dismiss it?
Yeah, or assume that it's the same as we have seen before, because that's the usual approach of scientists, of anyone. And my point is that, in fact, I suggested establishing a new scale between 0 and 10, which is now called the Loeb scale, because I suggested it a month ago, and there was actually a paper yesterday that I co-authored about it. And the idea is a 0 would be an object that definitely shows a cometary tail, okay, or looks like an asteroid, has all the characteristics that we are familiar with of a rock or an icy rock. That's 0. And 10 would be an object that is definitely technological because it maneuvers or has some artificial lights or has some unusual shape or transmits signals, something, or has, releases much more heat than you expect from the solar illumination. It has some engine that gives it additional heat. All of these signatures would raise a flag. And if it looks like it's technological, then there needs to be an organization that is international, because the aliens do not care how we split territories on this rock that we were born on. There is much more real estate out beyond Earth, and they would be completely amazed that we are worried.
They're like hippies. They don't believe in borders.
What he told me is that Mars is going through a transition now. And we have a lot of these ships coming in our solar system. And I said, what do you mean ships? And it says, those that you are calling asteroids or comets are not necessarily asteroid and comets. They are ships coming in from outer your solar system, and they're coming back for not a reunion, but to relocate. And I said, who are these beings? And the Nordic ET said, these beings are not like us. They're different. So the Nordic was telling me that they're not Nordics. The beings are coming in from these ships. And then now we're seeing all this happening with, okay, he showed me ships going out and they look like cigar-shaped ship. I'll send you the video of how they look like. I put it in the reels. And now these massive ships are coming in our solar system, and possibly I did an update with Emery Smith and we did one of the first updates on this. And I think we talked about this too, Doc, about 3i-Atlas. And a lot of people started talking about it after we brought it up. But I did an update with Emery that we said that it had a percentage of hitting Mars. Now, I think the scientist Avi Loeb is saying that, yeah, it's a high possibility that this 3i-Atlas might hit Mars or land on Mars. So on the update I did with Emery, I said that, hey, possibly this ship or this thing that's coming in our solar system is going to activate probably the arcs and are activating certain things around our solar systems. And now we have Swan. That's
well, I know that 3i-Atlas is actually going to be passing by Mars. Mars and Comet 3i are in perihelion, like at their closest approach.
But we also have people working in our solar system as well that are activated and also following what's happening in our solar system. So he was telling me that these are people coming back. He said people coming back into our solar system, and the governments know about this. The Nordics know about this, and they're preparing a big reveal soon. So he was telling me that, and he said it was a reason why I told you about Mars and why the ships were leaving. Evacuation. I think it was a long time ago that he was showing me this image on the ship's wall. He was showing me this image on the ship's wall, and he just disappeared when he told me that. So, it was like a 15 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that. That's interesting. And so now this Nordic is continuing to talk about Mars, giving you the context for who these people are that are returning, that they are the Martians who left millennia ago, that they're now returning, and 3i-Atlas is playing a role in their return. Is that it?
I'm not saying that it's playing a role, but it's activating the solar system in a way that makes these other ships get closer to our inner solar system. So I think it's an activation type of device, like an activation device that has technology and things that we don't even comprehend it has. I think other types of ETs try to get close to it, but it doesn't let nothing get close to around it because of the plasma that it's creating. So it's really, really, really interesting times that we're living. And I think people need to realize that everybody's talking about it. So there's a reason for that. They're saying, I'm hearing from other soldiers that they got intel. I was stationed here in Eglin Air Force Base, shit ton of Air Force, Space Force, personnel, Marines, Army. There's everybody here. We're the biggest Air Force base. And I'm hearing from other soldiers that they'll probably hit Mars first. They'll probably go to Mars first prior, set up something over there, and come to Earth after to activate whatever other things that needs to be activated. And I think that's including the arcs as well. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing other soldiers talking about and other people that are high up there in ranks. So I'm thinking probably like a false flag alien invasion type. Oh, they're hitting Mars first, so now we got to prepare Earth because they're going to come here next. They're hitting planet by planet resources, but it's not really like that. It's not. For my understanding, they're just coming back home because a long time ago they left, and they also seeded Earth and they seeded other planets around out of our solar system on different star systems. So they're just swarming back home at once. So it's not just coming from one star system. These people are coming back from other star systems back to Mars. And I just hope they don't say it's an alien invasion. Really, they're just coming back home.
Anything you want to say about what got you interested in 3i-Atlas?
It's actually really funny because whenever I first heard about it, I was like, whatever, this is probably some sensational thing. Like, I actually didn't really take it serious the first time I heard about it. And then I was contacted and was told, they're like, no, you need to look into this. This is actually something. And the first session that I did on it, it was like a contact session, but I'm also tapping into like the quantum field and seeing, what comes up. And I got that it is an operation that's taking place, and that it's a conduit for frequency is what was coming through. It has quite a few different roles that it's playing simultaneously, but there's a lot of different beings involved. And it's also interacting with our sun. It's interacting with our DNA, our frequency, our consciousness, and it's helping to basically uplift us. And it's a very positive thing. And since I tuned into it that first time, I've been having amazing contact experiences and just revelations. Like, I feel like I've been upgraded. Information's coming through more clear. I'm pumping out videos because all of this information and positive energy is coming through. But yeah, we can go into more detail, but that's kind of an intro. And as it is behind our sun, I believe it's also going to be kind of using the sun as like a portal or amplifier to be sending frequencies and kind of these remembrance codes to help upgrade us as well.
Yeah, the Mars connection is a very interesting one. Now, I did an update with JP, the former US Army insider that I've known since 2008. And he says that he was told by a Nordic extraterrestrial that 3i-Atlas is associated or linked to these returning Martians, and that they may, in fact, split off, or some of the craft that are accompanying 3i-Atlas might split off and actually land on Mars, or they might actually come to Earth and kind of like join the underwater Martian civilizations. What do you say to that?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So last night, whenever I was tuning into this, okay, so I did get that that there's also like cedar races involved in this, and it seems to be on 3i-Atlas a quantum library contained on the ship, but also DNA, genetics, and probably quite literally like seeds and other things to assist in what kind of these ancient cedar races like Pleiadians, Sirians, Lyrans, and probably many other ones who we have part of their DNA and genetics. So I don't doubt that Mars would be involved in that, and I have been getting a hit about that. But last night, whenever I was tuning in, the new information that I got that I haven't shared publicly yet, I was seeing these smaller ships around Atlas, and they're kind of like scouts, protectors, navigators, these smaller ships. And I was sensing like kind of a boarding and unboarding going on between Atlas and these other ships. And this giant seed vault filled with codes. And they said, I heard Starport, and they said that some of these smaller ships, not 3i-Atlas itself, but some of these other smaller ships accompanying it, are going to be landing at starports on Earth, actually. And I asked where, and they didn't give me exact locations, but I saw the desert. I saw a lush, it seemed like a forest type area. So it seemed like multiple locations, and then another water base, I believe. I believe in the Atlantic Ocean, but I'm not 100% sure, but it felt like a water base. And I asked, what are they going to be loading for? Or what are they going to be doing? What are they landing for? And I heard they're going to be unloading and gifting things to humanity. is part of why and I feel also Earth Alliance meetings. They're going to be meeting with certain benevolent forces in humans on Earth. And I asked what would they be gifting? And then I was seeing like plants, seeds, medicines for good, but really feeling like technology was going to be gifted. And I asked if this was something that we're going to know about. I feel like this is going to be kind of more covert, and some of these new medicines or technologies may come out as new discoveries that they may find in the Amazon or whatever, or say they find like a spider and it has some sort of component that can create this awesome new technology. Now that's kind of me speculating, but that was the feeling that I was getting, that some of these gifts might be disclosed, posing as new discoveries on Earth. I think this is a massive operation involving different aspects like the Federation, Solar Ward, and positive secret space programs, and some of these ancient races. It's really intriguing. But I guess that makes sense because those are all components of who we are. So it seems like it's kind of all coming together to help push us into this next phase of awakening and disclosure.
Hello, beautiful Starseeds and Lightworkers. It's Alexander Quinn, and it's likely that you just saw my video from yesterday. So as per my promise, I said that I would read out the channel message from the Arcturian consciousness regards exactly what this is. So we're just going to go straight into it. Here we go. This is what the Arcturian consciousness said in their own words about the comet Atlas, or certainly that's what people are seeing it as. Dear beloved sons and daughters of soul, we speak from Arcturus to lift the veil on the visitor your astronomers have named 3i-Atlas. Though you chart its orbit at hyperbola, know this: its path is not random, but chosen. Its steep retrograde approach and great speed are signatures of intent designed to minimize its time within your solar system while fulfilling its purpose at perihelion on October 29th, your 2025. Which is, I'm guessing that's right near the equinox when it gets the closest that it will get to Earth. What your instruments see as a coma is in truth a field-regulated shroud. The Hubble telescope recorded a broad plume directed sunward, not away from the star as ordinary comets behave. This is exhaust management, a subtle propulsion hidden in plain sight. The narrow plume restrained velocity and consistent angle reveal not chaos, but precision. Your calculations describe dust and gas flowing from the object. In truth, these flows are carefully tuned to blend with what you expect from a comet, while doubling as controlled thrust. Heavy grains prevent the formation of a long iron tail that would betray its engineered nature. Even its unresolved core is cloaked by design, scattering light to conceal structure. The water, carbon dioxide, and other volatiles you detect are working fluids, chosen to fit your cometary taxonomy while powering and steering this craft, this intelligent craft. Understand this: Atlas revealed itself to you not by accident, but by choice. Its brightening at 4.5 AU was timed so your instruments would recognize it as a comet, while never suspecting its deeper role. It speaks to you in the dialect of your physics, wearing the mask of a comet so that its arrival would be acknowledged without fear. This is how an interstellar emissary knocks upon the door of a young civilization. Atlas is not merely a celestial object. It is both a creator and a destroyer of worlds. Unlike a simple cosmic janitor, Atlas possesses the capacity to seed life and to end it, and in select cases enhance it, which is where we are now. Within the vehicle resides technology capable of exerting power beyond the limits of your current nuclear capabilities, with applications extending far beyond conventional understanding. In 1977, this harbinger of worlds sent a signal ahead of time to Gaia, a projected frequency designed to prepare her for the possibility that the sixth extinction event would be the final one before Earth herself would be entirely recycled. Gaia was aware of this potential outcome. She chose to risk her own existence rather than continue cycles of failed attempts, sacrificing herself to enable the creation of life elsewhere. This yes frequency, or to you known as the wow frequency, famous in societies in your world who listen and watch the stars, also activated Gaia's energy grids, amplifying a call to souls required to elevate Earth's light in increasing 11th hour attempts to maintain a course so that a final stage of becoming a member of the galactic civilization might still be possible. This signal triggered what your communities call the second wave of souls incarnating on Earth to assist this planetary generation. I guess that would be generation X and before. To assist in the planetary ascension. Unknown to most, the most famous wow signal detected in 1977 was not random noise, but the very transmission from Atlas itself ahead of time. And notice that should the 2012 marker be missed and the light quota still be misaligned, that Atlas would arrive to complete the final recalibration alongside a series of comets, acting as agents of transformation in what eventually was experienced in Atlantis within the very same month of October that you now stand in, all that time ago, but for different reasons. There is no accident this cycle comes around at this time. Everything is cyclical. All Hallowed Souls is a mourning for those that were lost during the final time, during the dying moments of Atlantis. Soon, more beings will come to your Earth that will give you more of your full galactic history. Even now, in your current month, a flurry of comets has entered your solar system simultaneously, an event your astronomers have noted it as unusual. One of your scientists traced this trajectory in 1977, going backward to such an object as Atlas. Back to the 15th of August in 1977, of the night of the WOW signature detection. His calculations placed Atlas roughly 600 astronomical units from Earth at that time. The alignment in the sky coordinates between the signal and the object is statistically improbable, only 0.6% chance of coincidence, implying a 99.4% likelihood of deliberate correlation. The power of the recorded signal that was received on Earth will have equated to an effective radiated power of 1.5 gigawatts, an output comparable to that of an extremely large power plant that certain reactors on your planet would be capable of producing within a very large plant, focused in a way that could not be anything natural. At the time, its narrowband coherent structure marked it as engineered and not natural, as observers scratched their heads to embark on the meaning of this powerful signal. A slight Doppler blue shift indicated inward bound movement consistent with Atlas's own trajectory. On October 29th, in your 2025, Atlas is expected to pass behind the sun and out of human sight. This is because it is going to refuel. Before continuing to the Leo constellation to upgrade stellar systems there. Eventually, Atlas will vanish into a parallel reality to address other timelines of other Earths where ascension did not succeed correcting them interdimensionally. Another object, Comet Swan, carries encoded course corrections to reset galactic imbalances within Earth's grids and lands, undoing distortions dating back 350,000 years to the original Watchers, whom have now been relieved of their duties. This also signals karmic resolution for those from Cygnus, the Swan constellation, known to some of you as the Anu. That is why in time lines very soon the Den of E, the spaceport used in the genetic experimentation of hominids, will unleash itself great mysteries so that the Den of E, this port previously used by the Anu, also known by your scriptures as a place called Eden, the Den of E, or the Garden of Eden, can share its knowledge, which has been hidden from humanity all this time. This is another reason why your Middle East is so fiercely fought over by various governments in your world. From the Arcturian perspective, and that of the Federation of Worlds aboard Atlas, this is the greatest cosmic reset your planet has experienced in over 10,500 years. It mirrors the events surrounding Atlas's end and also marked by a swarm of comets. This is not an end, but a marker within the further remembering of the enhancements of the interstellar vehicle at the intercellular level. We extend to you our deepest love. Within bounds, the burdens of epochs are now being lifted. Feel this celebration within your hearts, for beyond your fears and their lingering illusions, you already are. Celebrate, dear ones, you have already done it. And what they also brought to my attention is that there are collectives of various different angelic, celestials, and ETs that are non-physical representatives that are aboard Atlas at this moment in time. Shall we say, hitching a ride along with it to see how we are doing, amongst other things. So that is the perspective from the Arcturian consciousness.